Okay, hey friends, it's time for the monthly reset, and I'm so excited. This reset is gonna look a little bit different. First of all, I am cramping a little bit right now, so I'm putting on this essential oils that help and really helps me to feel better. So I'm putting this on, but I wanted to start this vlog, or not vlog, I wanted to start this video a little bit cozy, because I really am in that mood where I feel like this has kind of been a theme in my last few videos, but if I don't stop distracting myself with my phone and shows and all of that kind of stuff, then I will not get into my book and I will slump out. And I literally just started this book yesterday. I am reading The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. It's her newest book. It is set in the 1950s in Washington, D.C. And I read like 25 pages of it, and then I got busy and couldn't read it anymore. So if I don't just turn everything off and get into this book, I'm probably gonna slump out of it, and I'm gonna really regret the decision because I hate being in a reading slump. So for the first part of this vlog, we're just gonna get cozy. We're going to read. This is a bookish reset video, and I feel like this is perfect to reset because what I need to reset right now is actually my brain and I need to get my priorities straight. So welcome to this video. I hope you enjoy. Okay, I've got a cappuccino here, and I thought I would tell you a little bit more about what the Briar Club is about. So far, it is looking like each chapter is going to be from the perspective of a different person in the story, and it's not first person. I think it's third person maybe. The first chapter is actually from the perspective of the son of the person who owns this house, so the landlady. His part is a lot of like coming of age type thoughts and feelings that he has in the 50s, being post-war. His dad's not in the picture, and there's just a lot of dialogue of him navigating being a teenager and all the feelings he has based on the past and based on his dad. But this main character is, I think that she's gonna be like the main character for the book. She is like in her 30s, and she's the newest tenant, and she is like befriending him. I'm only about 30 pages into this book, so I don't have a whole lot to say, but earlier when I talked about the prologue, how there's a murder. We don't know who died so far, so I think that it's gonna have those mystery elements whenever we get the present day timeline. But other than that, we're just following these 5 to 6 people and their relationships with each other, and I think eventually we'll figure out who died and who actually killed them. And Kate Quinn always puts a twist in her books. So I wouldn't, well, I say this now, I don't think this is going to be like a murder mystery book. I think that this is going to be more historical and more so just insightful to what life was like in the early 50s, post World War II, some of the other things going on in the world during that time. And so I think that that will be interesting because I love reading about that time period. But I also, in classic Kate Quinn fashion, like, she creates very in-depth and thoughtful characters that feel like people I would meet in real life. And so I'm excited to get to know these characters and to get in their head and pick their brain a little bit and to kind of learn about the 1950s experience in the US. But that is where I'm at now, and I will update you again later. My husband is vacuuming and cleaning his office, so if you hear noises in the background, that's what it is. But so many quotes in this book so far have made me just stop and think for a minute. And it's something I've been thinking about with a few of the books I've read this year, is that I kind of want to have a portion of my reading journal where I write my thoughts after each chapter of the book. That way I could flip through and see my more in the moment thoughts. Because currently in my reading journal, I just have where I write my overall thoughts at the end, and I still want to do that. I think that it might be nice to have a portion of that journal be solely for like the messy, in the moment thoughts that haven't been fully fleshed out, because I don't know, there's just so much already in the first 30 pages of this book that has made me just stop and think. And I love when a book does that. I love when a book makes me want to just kind of sink my teeth into it and like gets the wheels turning in my brain. So maybe later when we do the full monthly reset, which is probably gonna happen tomorrow, my time, we can set up a portion of this journal for the thoughts. But I might do it as I'm reading this book. We'll see. It's the next day. I am gonna sit down and make a list of what I want to do today for this reset. I also need to do a few things around my house, and I might take you along for that. I need to make some hamburger buns for tonight, and I need to also put some laundry in the washing machine and a few other random house things. But for now, I am going to make my list for the reset, and I'm gonna do a couple things different this month, and so I'm excited. This should not be just a repeat of my last video. It'll be similar, but it'll just be fun to have a little bookish day. Okay, I have got the bread rising. I also had to fill my flour jar. I get these huge bags of flour from Costco, and it's the best deal ever, but I can't fit a whole bag into my flour jar, and so I needed to put some more in the jar and do some other things in the kitchen. But now I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna tell you what my plan is as far as the bookish reset things that we're gonna do today. So I actually decided to just come sit at my dining room table for this part, but the first item of business that I want to do is put some books on hold at the library. I am notorious for checking books out of the library and then never reading them. I have a really hard time doing that when I'm a mood reader. Like, I just never know what mood I'm gonna be in. Sometimes it feels kind of pointless to bring books home and then like never read them. And I know like It's free. I'm not spending any money, but I'm also just thinking about the other people who maybe want that book and they can't get it because I have it in my house. So what I've been thinking about lately is I want to read more literary fiction. I want to try it. I've been really curious about it lately. I've gotten a few books to try that I know that I'll most likely like, but there's a few of them that I like to borrow from the library, and so I want to put them on hold at library. The first one is Bunny by Mona Awad. This is, I think, what people would consider weird lit fic, and that's kind of what I've been thinking about. I've read a few different things in the past that have been weird lit fic. Like, I read Bunny Cake by, who was that by? Rabbit Cake, sorry. Not Bunny Cake, Rabbit Cake. It was by Annie Hartnett. I think that she's the same one that wrote Unlikely Animals. And anyways, that was like a really weird lit fic. It had horror elements, and I've also read I'm Thinking of Anythings by Ian Reid, which is a literary horror, and I really enjoyed it. I've been in a bit of a reading slump lately, not a full-on slump. I think I talked about this in my last video, but I've not been in a full-on slump where I don't want to read at all, but it's been more so like I'm busy, and when I do finally get time to read, it's hard to turn my brain off enough to focus on the book. It's hard to stop thinking about everything else in life. I don't have time to just sit and get like immersed in a story. And I think that's going to change in the next couple of weeks. I won't be as busy. But amongst this reading slump, I've been thinking about literary and specifically literary horror, and I realized I don't have anything like that on my shelves. And so I have bought a few different books, but again, I do want to actually borrow some from the library. So I'm going to do Bunny by Mona Awad and see when they can get it to me. Hopefully it would be soon. Place hold. Does this have my right location? It does. Okay. Place that one on hold. Let me know if you use your library a lot. Let me know what systems you use. Like if you have a system for your library. I know that some people can just like go to the library and bring books home and read them. Like I said earlier, that can be really difficult for me when I'm a mood reader. So another one that I'm interested in trying is Talking at Night by Claire Daverly. I know not very much about it, other than I think that it is considered a love story, but it's not like a rom-com book. Talking at Night. I also want to read We Spread by Ian Reid. This might be something that I would actually like to buy and have on my shelves one day, but I still would like to borrow it first from the library. I also want to read Remarkably Bright Creatures. This is something that has interested me for a while, and I have never just picked it up. So I need to just go for it and read it. Every time I hear somebody talk about it, it sounds so good to me. Okay, this is a book that my mom has told me about. It's called The Food of Love Cookery School. It is set in Italy about 4 women at a cookery school, each at a turning point in their lives. So I guess it's gonna be a found family element. It sounds kind of like Eat, Pray, Love-ish, but it sounds like a fun something to read during the summer. So, Food of Love Cookery School. Please tell me they have it. They don't have it. Why is this not in the library? That is crazy. But I do want to get that at some point because I think it's good. I might be able to borrow from my mom actually. The Chelsea Girls, because it's going to be a historical fiction between the 1940s and the 60s. The Chelsea Girls definitely pulls back the curtain on the desperate political pressures of McCarthyism, the complicated bonds of female friendship, and the siren call of an uninhabited Chelsea hotel. So, hotel vibes. It's available. Yay. I need to do one more, or I'm gonna come home with like a whole August TBR and not even want to read any of it because I'm a mood reader. Oh, I wanted to read that. Where did I learn about that? It's called The Man Who Saw Seconds. I saw somebody talking about this. Where did I see that? It's not at the library. It's about somebody who can see like seconds into the future, and I guess because of that he gets into a situation with the cops. Like, he can prevent things or whatever, but like the cops are after him because he has this weird power. It's supposed to be a sci-fi. It reminds me of like a Blake Crouch idea. Anyways, this is probably so boring, but I just wanted to talk about books that I'm finding at the library. I am going to make up coffee because I haven't had one yet. It's kind of gloomy. And then we're going to do something so exciting that I have been thinking about for the last few weeks, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to do it and to take you along and show you what my thoughts are on this plan. So, what I need to do is reorganize my bookshelves. Everything is organized by genre right now. I'm just getting into that place where whenever I look at my bookshelf, I'm not seeing an individual book. I'm seeing like a canvas of books. And so it is difficult for me to feel inspired because it's just been this way for a while. And so I need to just redo it. And I think that what I'm going to do is actually separate my read books from my unread books. I don't have a TBR cart or anything like that. I like seeing all my books together, but I think this will be good for me for a couple of reasons. One of them being that it will inspire me to actually pick up the books that are on my shelves. And additionally, I think that it'll just be nice to see the separation of here are the things that I've read, here are the things I've not read. And I think that within each of those, with the books that I've read, I think I'm going to do alphabetical by author last name. And then I'm either going to do the same with the things that I've not read, or I'm going to keep them as categories. But I have a feeling that I will do author last name because what I currently have as categories, and the whole point is for me just to mix them up. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put YouTube on and watch YouTube on the TV while I'm doing this, and I think that this will be a very therapeutic way for me to organize my books and then also just get inspiration from my own shelf. Okay, I have got everything off my shelves. This is the pile of books that I have read, and this is the pile of books that I have not read. And honestly, I'm really encouraged so far because for some reason, I thought that I had way more books that I had not read, and I was going to feel bad about buying books. But as far as just looking at the piles, it looks pretty even, if not maybe a little bit more read books. And that makes me really happy because it means I'm reading my books more than I think I am. So anyways, I just had to tell you that. But I'm going to get to putting them back in the shelf organized. It's the next day. I finished organizing my shelves yesterday, but it took me like 2.5 hours to do it. And I was so tired at the end. I decided I was just going to finish the rest of this reset today. Okay, I'm gonna show you my bookshelf tour super quick before I get into the other things. So here is the whole thing. We've got books on the top as well as the shelves. So these 4 shelves plus this one are all books that I've already read. Starting here, these 3, and then these 4 are books that I have not read. I was really encouraged because I thought that I had way more books unread. And then on the top, these 3 books are books I've borrowed from my mom, so those are kind of separated. All my Emily Henrys are together. Obviously, I've read those. I've read the first one of this series, and then these are also Andrew Peterson books, and I wanted all the Andrew Peterson together. I wanted my C.S. Lewis together. I've read these two. I've read these two of the ACOTAR series. I have read Love and Other Words, and I've read a handful of these Stephen Kings. But obviously I can't fit it all on these, 12 cubes. So I had to pick and choose which books were going to be separated. I wanted the Emily Henrys together. I wanted this to be together since it's still in a box. I wanted my Stephen King together. Stephen King can't even fit on a whole cube, so I knew that he was going to have his own little area. So that's my thought process with at least the top of these shelves. But again, I really enjoy seeing all the books that I have not read together. I like that it's alphabetical order, and I like that it is giving me some space to add things because I will inevitably buy books. And then on this side, it also gives me some space to put books that I've read. And I apologize that my husband just got home and my dog is whining. Okay, I just updated my reading journal and I wanted to share the things that I did in here. So I've got a series tracker, and this month I read the last book in this Thursday Murder Club series, so I got to fill that in, which is very satisfying. I also added some books to the audiobook page. Originally, when I made this page, I was gonna put books that I only read on audio, and this year I have just not been reading that many solely on audio, and so I decided that I'm gonna also put the books that I read along with a physical read. So for instance, I finished The Last Devil to Die on audio, even though I read the majority of it physically, and so I still put it on the audiobook page. And I also added some more books to my library page. I finally filled in all of the books on this shelf, and I started working on this one. For some reason, just when I first made this page, started here, and I'm just working my way up. I don't know why that is, but I'm gonna finish out this page first before I move on to the next one. This will probably last me into next year, to be honest with you. Let's see, what else did I do? I had to let some people borrow different books, and so I checked off that I got them returned, and added another one that somebody else is borrowing from my library. And then on this page, I updated the reading stats for the books that I read in July, and I just like how simple it is with a tally. And then for my July reads, I added them in here with the things that I rated, or what I rated them, and a little blurb about what I thought about them. I am currently in the middle of The Briar Club by Kate Quinn, and I am hoping to finish that before the end of the month and then add it. So there could potentially be some more there. But something else that I did was in the back of this, I created a section. I don't love the page, but it says, "Welcome to my messy book thoughts." And in here I just have the Briar Club, and after each chapter I write what page I'm on and a little blurb about just my in the moment thoughts about the book. And I have been enjoying this so far, specifically because this book is formatted differently compared to her other ones. There's only 7 or 8 chapters, and they're really big chapters, and each one is kind of broken up into little sections, so it's kind of like chapters within chapters, but each chapter is the perspective of somebody different in the story. I am enjoying it, but it just means that at the time I finish reading a chapter, it's such a big chunk of the book that I'm really enjoying having a place to process what I'm thinking about the book and what I'm learning about the characters. And I probably won't do that for every single book, because if I read like a little thriller, then sometimes the pages are only like 1 or 2 pages and I don't really need to update it every single chapter. But for longer books, or for, you know, just 1 or 2 updates in the middle of a book, I think that it's kind of a good way for me to just kind of slow down and like soak into the story a little bit and really be more contemplative about it. So that is my reading journal, and I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna do next. I also want to talk a minute about being a mood reader. I feel like I say something about this every video, but it really puts me in a unique position to be on BookTube, because I feel like most booktubers have the monthly TBR video, the monthly wrap-ups. They do these themes where they're like reading a certain thing for a week, you know, whatever. And I think that it's really fun and entertaining to watch those things, but it's not necessarily something that I can personally do because I'm a mood reader. And I apologize that it's dark. It looks like it's raining, and so it just got really dark all of a sudden. But it's not something that I can do because that's just not how my brain works with reading. I read all types of genres. I enjoy making a TBR, as you have seen in some videos, just because it helps me think differently about books, but I can never read all of them, and I hardly ever go off that. I think that Powerless was actually on my TBR for July, and I actually read it, but it was only because I was in the mood for it. And so I don't really know what the point of me saying this is, other than I just want you to know that like I am feeling really creatively driven with YouTube right now, but it's probably going to look pretty different compared to what other people do with their booktube videos. And I am hoping to just, if you're like me and you are a mood reader and it's hard for you to, you know, make the monthly TBR and do all those things, I at least want you to be able to resonate with somebody else and not feel as alone in it, because I thought that I was weird at first, and I've just kind of leaned into it and have felt the most happy in my reading life just being myself. So anyways, that was some messy thoughts, but I am gonna share with you a handful of books that I would like to get to in August and why. So for 1 week in August, I'm going to be filming a specific video that I'm not going to tell you right now. During that week, I will potentially be reading some out of my comfort zone things. That's not what the video is about, but because of that, I have like a whole 7 days time blocked where I won't be able to read what I want to read, and that's going to be very interesting being a mood reader. But I also have a week, or about 4 days in August, where my husband and I will be going to stay at his aunt's condo at the lake for our anniversary. It's not that far of a drive for us, and literally my plans are just to relax and turn my phone off and read. I potentially might not even vlog, but I want to binge out some books when I'm there, and I think that there's one book in particular that I would really like to read at the lake, and we'll see if that happens or not, and that is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This is not a lake book at all. It is about this boy who goes back to his childhood home. His best friend was taken in the middle of the night when he was a child. They were camping and nobody ever saw him since, and for some reason he's back at his parents' house. And I had started this actually at the beginning of the month, and it was not the right time for me to read it. I just want to be able to sit down and binge it out, and I think that being at the lake is going to be a good idea for that. Additionally, every single year I read beach read. This actually does happen at a lake, and I think that I read this maybe in September, so it's not even been a year since I have read it, but it is one of my comfort reads, and I think that that would be a great 4-day lake agenda, to have a thriller and then a more comforting like romance. And then for the rest of the month, I've got some hopefuls. The first one is The House We Grew Up In by Lisa Jewell. This is the only Lisa Jewell on my shelf that I have not read. I have really enjoyed her books in the past, and this actually just became available on audio on Libby, and so I wasn't planning on reading this, but I have the audio, and I'm probably going to listen to it on audio, but it will be nice to be able to move this over to my red shelf on my shelves. The other hopefuls I have is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I obviously got this from Book of the Month, which is, it's not sponsored or anything, but for some reason I have a hard time wanting to pick this up. I don't know why. I think the cover is beautiful. I hear really good things about it, but the premise of it does not make me super excited to pick it up. And I think that I just need to like suck it up basically and read it and kind of get into the story before I decide what I think about it. So I'm hoping to read this in August, because once September comes around, mentally I'm just already in fall and I want to read this with summer vibes. And I've got 2 other books for August that I'm hoping to get to. One would be Powerful. I would love to read this before I read Reckless to get more story from this character. If you know, you know. And I would love to read this because I think that I would love to read Reckless in the fall, and I want to make sure I don't forget the story, and like I want to stay in this world a little bit before I get there. I would also love to read Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is a literary fiction novel and it's pretty popular. It's been out for a while, but I have been really curious about it and recently got it, and I would love to just kind of change it up and read something different and out of my comfort zone this month. So these are all the books that I hope to get to in August, and we will see how many of them I actually get to. Okay, this concludes my August reset. I had a great few days with you, just doing some bookish things, resetting my brain, resetting my house, my shelves all organized, and I hope you enjoyed watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it so that I know you liked it, and subscribe for more videos in the future. I have a lot of really fun ideas that I'm hopefully gonna get up in August, and I would love to have you along. I would also love to know what you're hoping to read in August. If you want to tell me your August TBR in the comments, that would be really fun. Anyways, I think this is gonna be the end of this video, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.